G'day guys, welcome to my Rxys feature video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about NRL 2020 predictions. So let's get this started anyway. So who I think in this 5/8 of this one, which I think he is the most talented player that I saw. He is on the Parramatta Hills side, and this guy is really talented. He's played a couple of games in the upcoming rounds, upcoming weeks. He did get injured and he had a back problem anyway, so I do respect what his choices were. But this guy is definitely Dylan Brown. He is the most talented player I've ever seen. I just think he's going to get up top of it, and really he's changed a lot for this year's upcoming games anyway. But when we didn't have him, we were sloppy, we were not on the park, we were just absolutely messy. We were just messy, terrible, and not strong enough to make that defense for a couple other clubs anyway, to make a win anyway. So what I can say is, I just think for this club, for the Parramatta Eels, he can definitely fire a good game, and I just think for Dylan Brown, really for this defense, what he does and how the way he does it, it's just phenomenal, and he just gets a couple of tries and it's just absolutely amazing what he does. So I'm going to go with Dylan Brown for the 5/8 of this one. I just think it's just hard for me to pick, and I'm just going to go for this one here because he's a great player. I do respect his decisions, and plus he's the most great player in the Parramatta Eels side for the 5/8 role into that club anyway. So what I can say is, he is a great player, and I definitely rate him 10 out of 10 for him and what he does for the team and what he does to play his games. For the next one, I can definitely see for this one, the fullback role. What I say in this thing, for the Melbourne Storm in this one, I just think he is a great player. It was Jerome Hughes that he definitely was in that role, but fortunately he had to go into that 5/8 position because he didn't play as much good as football as he was doing. But for this one, for this new role, for this guy, I really do like him. He is electric, he is fast, and he is powerful. And what I can say, he's just on top of his game, and I just think he produces one of the most great attacking games in that whole of the comp anyway. And I just think for him, he has most breaks and line breaks anyway. He produces one of the most good tries, and I just think for this guy, and I'm going to say this one, it's definitely Ryan Papenhuyzen. He is fast, he is electric, same as James Roberts, but not as James Roberts is not faster enough than Ryan Papenhuyzen. I just think for this one, Ryan Papenhuyzen, I think he has just been phenomenal. What I've seen for him, he's definitely played a lot of games, and I just think for this guy, though, I can definitely think, I just can't imagine for this club, he's just absolutely amazed me, and I can definitely say for him, he has just been phenomenal for every single thing that he has done. And what I say for this club though, I just think that he can be one of the most great players in the fullback role, and I am going to pick him because he is just phenomenal. And for me, I was going to pick someone else, but this player has stood by me, and I am definitely going to pick this one because he is a 10 out of 10 role, and he is a great player for the full back role anyway, and I just think he'll be doing better in the 2020 games anyway. Okay, for the centre. Okay, for this one, for the 2020 role, and I think what I can say is for this guy, and he is definitely in the Parramatta Eels, one of the Parramatta Eels players, and he was playing for the Panthers, but unfortunately he moved to the Parramatta Eels. This guy is definitely Wonga Blake. He has definitely proven himself very well. He is fast and he is definitely powerful, and his speed is absolutely breakful. And I just say for him, he has just gone like above and beyond. And for stuff like that, even though for the last couple of years, if we wouldn't have this player, we wouldn't have won any games, because really we just need a great centre. And I just think for this club though, for Parramatta Eels, it's just gone above and beyond, and he is just came into this role and he has definitely gone great into this attack. And I just think for this club, I just think he's just absolutely phenomenal. And really for the Panthers, like he was playing for the Panthers, and he has just played one of the most great games for the Panthers, and plus for the Parramatta Eels too, into that new role. And I think he will definitely do great in the 2020 for next year's upcoming games anyway, that he definitely will play. What I can say is also, I reckon that he will do definitely better than this year, and I reckon he will definitely produce one of the most great games, and I think he will do great for the 2020 side anyway. For the next one is halfback. What I can say is he is in the Melbourne Storm side, and this guy is definitely Jerome Hughes. He was in the fullback side, but he got shifted to the 5'8" because he wasn't doing that great in the fullback side. He was playing definitely great footy, and I just think it definitely suits for him in that halfback side. And what I can say for him, he's played one of the most great games, and he just produced one of the most hard games of attacking football. But I tell you, going into that Melbourne Storm side for him, he definitely suits the Melbourne Storm, and I just think though that he will definitely produce one of the most great games for 2020 upcoming season for next year's upcoming games anyway. But really what I can say, definitely he's a 10 out of 10 for me. All of the players are definitely 10 out of 10 for that role. And what I can definitely say is though, I just think that he'll produce one of the most great games of this upcoming rounds of next year's games anyway. But really also, he's played really good in the upcoming games, like even though such as like New Zealand, he plays for the Kiwis, like he represents different countries. But I'm not too sure really what else he does, but I could say I don't think he's in the Queensland and New South Wales teams. But I hate to think that he probably will be, but I'm not too sure about that one, because all I know is that he has played for the New Zealand Kiwis anyway, for the men's also. And he is a great player, and I just think he'll do really good, like even better for the 2020 side of the upcoming games in that rounds anyway. Okay, for the next one, I'd say for the winger, and this one, he is in the Melbourne Storm squad anyway, and this guy is Josh Adokar. He is amazing. He is electric. He has speed. He is powerful. And I'd say he's a great player and one of the most great teams. I just think because he's played for West Tigers, he has played for the Melbourne Storm obviously, and yeah, like he has played for 2 clubs. And really what I can say for this club, and he is just absolutely one of the most great player, and I just think for him, he'll do great in the 2020 season anyway. I mean, what I can say is for this club of him, how the way he does it, it's just amazing. And for him, he's just powerful. Every time he gets the ball, he always runs to get and try after try after try. And what I can say is, for him, even though he gets the ball right, sometimes he can pass it, sometimes he offloads it, but then he'll probably get like a breakaway and then he'll probably get a try anyway. So what I can say is, even though another thing like saying like even though if someone like an opponent for a different club, like if they're away, he'll definitely catch them anyway because he is that quick and he is definitely that fast anyway. So really, he's one of the most great players and one of the most fast players in the comp. And I just think that he is a great player, and I'm definitely picking this guy because he is a great player for 100 out of 100 because I'm definitely rating him as a great, one of the most incredible player, I'd say. But yeah, I'm just going to definitely pick him for the NRL 2020 predictions. Plus, for this one, I'm definitely going to say that he will definitely do better for the next year's games and rounds for this year's comps anyway. Like next year's, I mean. And finally, the last but not least, the lock. Okay, so he is from the Raiders. This guy, I haven't really picked him because he is not really that good of attacking and defense, but he is certainly a great player. And this guy is definitely Joe Tarpany. He is a great player. He is number 13 for the Canberra Raiders, and I just think for him, his attacking games and defense is absolutely quality. And I just think for him, if he would do better, I'm just saying that he'll probably do better in the next year's rounds for upcoming games anyway. And really what I can say is for this club, they are a good team, and for him, he produces one of the most great games, and I just think he could be the man of the match a couple of times, even though if he plays well or doesn't really play well, but I'm not too sure about the injuries also too, because I'm not too sure if he does have injuries like in that list for the number of history they has for the injuries anyway. But really what I can say is also is that even though if this one can be very good, it's definitely for him. And I just think that Joe Tarpany is an absolutely great player for the Canberra Raiders side, and I just think even though it's the best solution, it's definitely the right match for the definitely Canberra Raiders team. And really, I just think that he is a great player to produce one of the most great games. And for him, he is powerful and he does create one of the most huge plays for attacking ability anyway. So what I can say is he's a great player for the Canberra Raiders and he'll do better for next year anyway. Okay, for the next one, top try scorer. Okay, for this one, what I can say is I think he's really good. He is from the Canberra Raiders, and I'd say for the fullback of him, it's definitely Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad. He is fast. He is really good, and I just say for him, when he was trying to catch Matt Duffy in a breakaway try, like when Luke Whitehead also was trying to catch him, or Elliot Whitehead or something like that. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Elliot Whitehead was trying to catch him. But when Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad was trying to catch him, it wasn't it was like a chase. So Matt Duffy up against him. Those two are really fast, but I'd say for this guy, I reckon for him, he is a great player, and I just think he'll produce one of the most great tries of 2020 anyway. And for him, sometimes he can be a little off the board, but then he is amazing. He is phenomenal, and I just think for him, he is a great player for the Canberra Raiders, number one of the fullback side. But really, I'm just going to rate him as a top try scorer for the 2020 And I just think for this guy, he is an absolutely great player, and I just rate him a 10 out of 10 for this one because he is a great player, but I reckon he'll be a top try scoring player in the comp. And I just think that for him, I reckon he'll suit it, and I reckon this one will be definitely a good choice for this player because he is an absolutely great player, and I just think for him, he will definitely seal the deal for the 2020 top try scorer of this list anyway. Okay, for the grand final of this one, I just think for this club, these two clubs, I reckon they'll definitely handle it, and really, I'm going to say it's Raiders versus the Knights. I'm definitely going to pick this one. I might not be right on this one. I just think the Knights will definitely go up there and they'll definitely have that confidence because they've only got like Mitchell Pearce, Kalen Ponga, Jaden Brayley, someone like that. And I just think for him, how the way they'll do it is just great. And I just think, though, he'll be good and he'll be absolutely great for this club. And, like, Jaden Brayley is an absolutely great player anyway, but because since he was from the Sharks, he was absolutely great. And I'd just say, like, since he was, like, a partner with, like, Chad Townsend, how he was, like, offloading the ball all the time, like with Chad Townsend, I reckon he'll do that with Mitchell Pearce anyway. But really, for this club, I just think they'll do better, like better than 2019 anyway. I reckon they'll do better, and we'll do it in 2020, and I reckon Raiders will do too. But then I reckon, though, for this score line, I just think it'll be 30 points to 16, and I reckon Raiders will definitely get this win, and I'll definitely get the job done. And I just think for this club, they are an absolutely great team, and they are a huge Wiseman's club. And I just think for Ricky Stewart, they'll put a smile on his face, and I just think for him, he is an absolutely great coach. And for all of these clubs, I reckon Raiders will definitely seal the deal for 2020's grand final, and they'll win the 2020 champion for the season anyway. Okay, for the Clive Churchill medal winner, I just think he's played very good. He is from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. He is number 9, and he is definitely Damien Cook. What I can say for this player, he is an absolutely great player, and I say every time he gets the ball, he never misses a bloody tackle. I just think how the way he plays the ball, like how the way he runs, and he just sidesteps, and I just think he is a speed little man freak. And I just think how the way he is going about, how the way he's going, I just think he is an absolutely great player, and I just think he is a 10 out of 10 for me. This is why I picked him, because he is an absolutely speed freak, and I think he is an absolutely great player. So, electric fine. But what I can say also is I definitely picked this one as a suitable one because he is an absolute, he's a threat to, an absolute so much of the other players, and he can basically dominate any player in the game. But really, sometimes he can have a bit of terrible things happening, and then and then he can basically have so much of energy, and then you can have so much of intensity into that game. So what I can say is I reckon this one is a suitable one. I'm definitely going to pick this one because I reckon he'll definitely be better for the 2020 season of the NRL, and I reckon he'll definitely play better than this year anyway. So what I can say is he is a great player, and I reckon he'll do better than 2019, and I reckon he'll definitely be a great player to get either 15 tries for the total of the season, all of the total of the season, and I reckon he'll do wonderful than 2019 anyway. The next one of this one is the Coach of the Year. Okay, what I can say is for this guy, this wonderful man. He is a nice person, but sometimes he does whinge a lot, and really, definitely criticizes people a lot. And I just think this guy is Ricky Stewart. I like him, but sometimes when he like arcs up at other, I'd say like other journalists and all that stuff, he definitely has a bigger problem than he is. Because really, you don't just like reply back and also just say like, oh, I'm not going to answer to that, or I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. But really, let's just forget about that and let's move on. So what I can say is, for Ricky Stewart, he is the coach of the Canberra Raiders anyway, and what I can say is also, he is a great coach. I just think for him, he can definitely be one of the most he can be very good into the coaching side. And for this one though, I just think for him, he's one of the most great, enthusiastic, one of the most good coaches in the NRL. And for him, he is very smart and he is loyal and he knows how to control players very well. So what I can say is also, he is a great coach. He can definitely define one of the most good players, and he knows not to get players hurt or anything like that. So he knows how to harden them up. He knows how to take things out of their own hands. But what I can say is, he is an absolutely great coach, and I do respect him. So yeah, I do actually respect Ricky Stewart anyway. So yeah, I reckon he'll be doing a good job for the 2020 season anyway, for next year, but not for this year anyway, like last year anyway, or 2019. I mean, sorry. Moving on to the actual ladder predictions. Okay, for 2020, for the ladder predictions, I'm gonna say for this club, I reckon they've proven themselves very well. They've got credit all around, and I just think for this one, it's definitely going to go with the Rabbitohs. They've proven themselves very well. They actually are a very good team. Sometimes they can struggle a bit with Wayne Bennett coaching side, and plus how the way the salary cap and also the other things too. But then you got Damien Cook, how the way he plays his football pretty well, good. Then you got Corey Allen, which I don't really like. He's so terrible, and I just think he's not that good, and I just think he just needs to drop to the lower grade side, also the reserves anyway. So what I can say is, I reckon for this club is a very good club, and I just think they'll settle first place into that role. And I reckon that they're a very defiant team and not underrated, because usually entertainers usually says underrated, because that's not really how you're supposed to say it, and overrated, because that's just very negative and very not positive talking. But really what I can say is also too, I just think the Rabbitohs are a most great team, and they can definitely define how the way they play. So I'm going to go with them, first place position for the 2020 ladder. And I really think they're probably going to settle downwards in the start of the season, and then they're going to go up into the first place position anyway. So yeah, what I can say is they are a good team, and I reckon Wayne Bennett will definitely do his role in how the way they play their great football. And I reckon they'll settle their nerves, and I reckon first place position will definitely go for the Rabbitohs anyway. For the second position of this one, I'm definitely going to go with the Melbourne Storm. Okay, so they are a good team, the Melbourne Storm. I just think second position, usually, because they are a great team, and I just think usually Josh Adokar just settles the nerves, and he is just electrifying. And I just think for this club, they definitely need a speedster in this one. And really for this club, I just think how the way they are is how the way they will be. And I just think for this club though, I reckon that they'll do good, and I just think they won't fall apart. And really, for this club though, I just think how the way they will like fight into their battles won't definitely be terrible. It'll just be very good, because how the way they will play their football is definitely very like strong and terrifying. But sometimes they can lose, because going up against Roosters and Raiders, they are a very hard team to beat. But then really you got this like guy Ryan Papenhuyzen, the fullback. He is electrifying, and all these players in the Melbourne Storm, I just think second position they will definitely be in there. And I'll just settle in that position anyway, because I just think how the way they play, they're great football. They're just hard to beat, and I reckon for this one, I'm not particularly too sure, and I just think second position will definitely define how the way they definitely play all the time. And the Melbourne Storm are hard to beat anyway, so yeah, second position it is for the Melbourne Storm anyway. For the third position of this one, it's definitely the Canberra Raiders. Okay, so what I can say is, for this club, they have played up against the Roosters for, I think, for this year's grand final. And how the way they're gonna definitely defy their attack, it's just gotta be very strong. But then you got this type of games where Jared Croker, Chance Nickel-Klokstad, definitely you got Jack Whiten, Jordan Rapana. I'm not too sure about that. I heard rumours that he's going to go with the rugby union side, but I'm not too sure. But then you obviously got Curtis Scott, which he is new. He's coming into the Canberra Raiders anyway, which I think that's a great signing. And yeah, what I can say is, for this club, I just think it's a definite turnaround. But it's hard to pick really, because Raiders are hard to beat, but sometimes they can lose a couple of games because it is a bit of a struggle. But then going up against Melbourne Storm, they have beaten them before. Who was it that definitely scored the winning try? It was Josh Papali, that's it. Josh Papali scored the winning try. And that's how they've beaten the Melbourne Storm anyway. And I just think how the way Canberra Raiders will definitely put this thing to bed or sleep. I just think how the way they will definitely play for in the 2020 season anyway. They'll definitely prove themselves better, and I reckon they'll definitely improve themselves very well in their attacking ability, and how the way they will definitely improve for 2020's game anyways. So fourth position of the 2020 predictions, I am going to go with the Sydney Roosters. This one was a hard pick, and I was going to put them on the second of the ladder, but it's definitely a bit hard. Because I'm going to say, I know why I'm going to pick it for fourth place. It's because of Latrell Mitchell. And it's because how the way they're going to attack very well, and they were improved themselves, like how the way they're improving themselves very well, and how the way they were attacking strongly, like for this year's games. I reckon they'll definitely prove themselves very well, and I reckon like how the way they'll play for the 2020 season, they will absolutely be great. And for this game, like these couple of games for the 2020 side, I reckon how the way they will play for this strong club for the Sydney Roosters, because they are an absolutely hard team to beat. But a couple of times though, they have lost a couple of games going up against like the Newcastle Knights, which they have lost. Well, I'm not too sure what the score was for the actual full time of that. But then sometimes they can be very good, very strongly into that attack. But then you got a couple of other things that they can absolutely fall apart and then lose a couple of games, which that really disappoints the Sydney Roosters fans anyway. But then really you got a couple of players that actually fall apart. Sorry. Yeah, they fall apart, but then here's the thing. Latrell Mitchell has definitely left for the Sydney Roosters, and I'm not too sure about this one because I don't even know why he left. Because he is very good, and he's strong, and he knows how to play football very good, 100%. And I definitely give credit and respect to Latrell Mitchell anyway, because really he has played his great football the past couple of seasons, and I just think how the way they'll play, like how the way he plays, it's just electrifying. But I just think 2020 predictions for next year's season, they'll definitely improve very well for the Sydney Roosters anyway. So 5th position of the 2020 predictions, I'm definitely going to go with the Parramatta Eels. Okay, so I go for the Parramatta Eels and Entertain Else goes for the Parramatta Eels. I reckon for this club, though, since we've signed 2 players, I think, Regan Campbell-Gillard and Ryan Madison, these 2 signings are definitely very good signings because I reckon, though, things will change around and I reckon that they will prove themselves very well. But they have to get the use of our club and how the way they will form into great defense and experience. Excuse me. But how the way they will definitely play, because you got Michael Jennings, he is definitely a great player. Dylan Brown, he is definitely a great player also too. And then you got Clint Gutherson and Blake Ferguson, he is absolutely great. But also, how the way I just think for the Parramatta Eels, I just think they are a great team, but I just don't see first place for them. I really don't think that they are a great side, but sometimes they can be very hard to beat, and then they can lose to up against Melbourne Storm, Sydney Roosters, Canberra Raiders. These 3 clubs, they are definitely hard to beat because these 3 clubs are one of the most hard teams to beat. So really one of the most great teams of this game is definitely the Parramatta Eels, but I just think 5th place, they'll suit them, and I just think Mitchell Moses will absolutely have a brilliant kicking game and also a couple of tries, and I reckon for the most total of this next year's games, I reckon he'll have 30 tries for the total, and I reckon he'll get so many goals. But sometimes when weather predicts very horribly, it can be very terrible for him because how the way he can kick it, sometimes he'll miss. I know for a fact. But then I think Parramatta Eels will do well for next season, for next year anyway, and I reckon they'll definitely improve themselves very well. For the 6th position of this one, I'm definitely going to go with the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Okay, so really what I can say is, for this one, they are struggling a bit, but they are falling apart. I just think they'll prove themselves very well, and I reckon they'll get on top. But with Matt Duffy, he struggles a little bit, but then he's a really good speedster and he produces one of the most great tries of the game. But sometimes they can be very hard to beat, but then the Dragons are averagely pretty good. But what I can say is that I just think for this club, they are struggling a little bit, but they are a 9 out of 10 club because it's just how the way, it's hard to say, how the way they are is how the way they can play, but then you got some other players like Tyson Frizzell, which he injures himself, a couple of times. You got Zach Lomax, he's a great player. Then you got who else? Like Jack DeBellin, which I don't think he'll return back, and I've heard about him saying that he was going to return back or not going to return back, but I don't know about that. And I just think how the way they can be for this club, I reckon they'll definitely turn themselves very well, and I reckon 6th position will definitely hold them into the top 8 anyway for them. And I just think they'll prove themselves very well for the 2020 NRL season for next year anyway. But I just think they'll definitely play their great game better than 2019 anyway. 7th position of this one, I'm definitely going to go with the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Okay, so really what I can say is for this club is I just think how the way they can be sometimes like into the attack. I just think how the way they can be for this club is that like Daly Cherry Evans is basically a great player, but for this stadium also, it's basically terrible. Termites everywhere, and just how the way they have that game, and it's just, oh god, it really irks me, and it's just horrible. It's going to be in my bloody worst of the stadiums anyway, but what I can say is that I just think how the way they can be in this match is definitely very, very hard. But they are a very good team, and I do respect the Manly Sea Eagles. They are a good club. Daly Cherry Evans is a great player. Tom Trbojevic is a great player. But I don't know about him if he's going to return or not. But it depends on his injuries and stuff like that. But his brother Jake Trbojevic is a great player also too. George Tavua, he is a bulldozer. But for him, though, what I can say is, for him, like, playing his great game, sometimes, like, he can high tackle a couple of players and then he can get away with it. But then I just think how the way they can be, it's just, I could just rate it, though, 8 out of 10. So, they are a great team, but sometimes they can fall apart a bit and then struggle, and then, yeah, they can not have a great game, and then going up against a couple other teams, they are just a terrible team sometimes. And yeah, I just think how the way they can be is definitely horrible, but yeah, they are a great team, and I do respect the Manly Sea Eagles, and I reckon they'll prove themselves in the 2020 season anyway for next year's rounds anyway. 8th position of this one. So this one is the last one of the top 8 anyway. For the first to the top 8, I just think Newcastle Knights for this one, and really for a fact, I just think how the way they can be into this club. Sometimes they can struggle very much hard, but I just think top 8 it will definitely suit them, because Kalen Ponga, sometimes he has his great games, but sometimes he can definitely fall apart and then not have his great game. But then you obviously got Mitchell Pearce, sometimes he can have his great game, but then he falls apart too. But this new signing of this great player, Jaden Brayley, has come into the Newcastle Knights from the Cronulla Sharks. And it is a good signing because they need a halfback anyway, and I reckon for this one, Jaden Brayley is an absolutely great player, and he deserves the Newcastle Knights anyway. So really, what I can say is for this club, they are a good club, and I just think how the way they can be is definitely a huge opportunity for Jaden Brayley to play for his first time for the Newcastle Knights for the 2020 season for next year's rounds. But really, I just think Jaden Brayley will have his great game, but then he'll probably have his terrible matches. Like sometimes people can have ups and downs, and then sometimes like they can have like their huge big moments, like they can be very good into attacks, and then sometimes they can fall apart. But not saying any negative things, but yeah, Newcastle Knights, 8th place for them it is, and I just think they'll improve themselves very well for the 2020 NRL season for next year's rounds anyway. For the 9th position of this one, I'm going to go with the Cronulla Sharks. I'm not saying anything negative because sometimes for this club, when I've been down there before, it's definitely pretty much not good sometimes, but then it's fairly small, but it's not that good. But excuse me, what I can say is that I just think, like, since Jane Brayley has left, I'm not going to be sure who's going to be like a halfback of their club. And really, for this one, I'm definitely going to go for this one, Sean Johnson. If he's going to be like doing a halfback side, I just think Sean Johnson will be definitely number 6, and Chad Townsend would be number 7 in that role anyway. So do check out Chad Townsend's vlogs and podcasts anyway, because I have been watching them and it's absolutely great. So check him out. It is Chad Townsend. So yeah. But what I can say is also too, I reckon that a couple of their players are struggling a little bit. Josh Dugan is struggling also with a couple of the injuries that he has. Also, Matt Moylan, definitely with the injuries, they are struggling also too. But then you got Edric Lee, which he has struggled with injuries. Like, so a couple of players have struggled with their injuries also, but I'm not going to mention any more names. But yeah, I reckon they'll struggle with players. But then I reckon they will have so much of their energy, right? But then I reckon that they will have a couple of their players for new clubs joining into Cronulla Sharks anyway. But like, I just think they will definitely play their heart out, and I reckon they will have their great game, but sometimes I reckon they'll fall apart. It's just not right for them, and I just think ninth position, they will definitely have that. And yeah, I reckon they'll prove themselves for the NRL 2020 of the season for games anyway, for the next week's rounds, for next year anyway. 10th position of this one, I'm definitely going to go with the West Tigers. I'm going to go with them because how the way they are, and they are struggling so much for this club. I just think Benji Marshall is a great player. Not Moses. I can't remember his name. He is a good player, but he is a winger. Paul Momorowski, I'm not too sure about him. He has played for the West Tigers, but I'm not too sure if he is going to be into that next year's squad. He is a great player also, but yeah, I'm not too sure about that. What else? Corey Thompson, he is a great player. I reckon he suits the number 1 side of that fullback side, and I reckon that he will. What I can say is also, for their good attacking the motion, I just think they are a great team. They are a huge attacking team. And I reckon they will struggle with 10th position of this one. And I really think that how the way they can play their football is how the way they can definitely attack, but I just think they will fall apart a bit, and I reckon 10th position they will definitely slip, and I reckon that they will fall into 10th position, and I reckon that they will definitely fall apart and just have their horrible matches. And I just don't see West Tigers going up to top 8 anyway, and I reckon that they will fall apart, and they're just not right. It's just not right, and so how the way they can play football is definitely how the way they can play, but really, I'm definitely going to go with 10th position on this one, and it's definitely a hard decision to make. So just because I'm definitely going to go with 10th position doesn't mean I hate them. I don't hate the West Tigers. It's just I don't see top 8 right for them. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the 10th position for the West Tigers anyway for the 2020 NRL season. For the 11th side, I'm going to go with the Penrith Panthers. I just think how the way they can play football is just not right, and they are struggling a little bit with Jerome Lulai in that match. Viliami Kikau, he is a great player. He is a great halfback. He is a great forward pack, and since Wonga Blake and Dylan Teddy-Selesniak have left the Penrith Panthers, I don't know where to see this club. And I just think for Nathan Cleary, he is the only player in that squad that will definitely improve his playing skills, and I just think how the way they can definitely play is just not gonna definitely fall apart. Sometimes they can have their great games, but I just don't see this one happening at the moment. But I just don't see this one going into top 8 anyway. And really, for this club, I'm not too sure about this one. I am seeing this not going to be so negative on this one. So what I can say is I just think they will fall apart, and I reckon 11th position will definitely fall apart for this club, and I reckon that they will have their moments and have their crucial attacking games, but sometimes they are not gonna win a couple of games. But yeah, 11th position it is for Penrith Panthers, and I reckon they will be terrible for the next year's games anyway. 12th position, I'm going to go with the North Queensland Cowboys. Okay, so really for this club, I'm not too sure about this one. They are falling apart, and they are falling apart very hard. But really, I just think for this club, though, it's just not right, and I do see them winning games a couple of times, but I'm not too sure about this one. Since Jordan Carr, who played his games a couple of times for the North Queensland Cowboys, he's going to move to Brisbane Broncos anyway, and he's going to move to his home stadium, But really, I just think they will fall apart again, and I reckon that for this club, I just don't see North Queensland Cowboys getting a top 8th position, and I just don't think they will, because Michael Morgan will play his great game, but sometimes he is terrible at his moments. Scott Drinkwater, I'm not too sure about him, because I don't see him playing fullback for 2020 season. I think he will probably play the number 6. I just don't see this one happening at the moment, and I reckon that this club will definitely fall apart easily, because how the way they are attacking sometimes is just not on, because sometimes they can be very good, and then sometimes they can be very bad. But I don't know, 12th position it is, and I reckon they will fall apart, but might not be right on this one. They probably will settle for top 8, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, they will fall apart, and I reckon for my benefit, for my opinion, I'm definitely going to go with 12th position on this one. It is their new stadium for their next year's games anyway, and I reckon that they will have their good games, but sometimes they will have their terrible moments. But yeah, 12th position it is for North Queensland Cowboys anyway. 13th position, I'm going to go with the Canterbury Bulldogs. Okay, so for this club, I just don't see them winning any games, but they do have quality good players for like Nick Meaney, Dylan Watene-Selesniak, Will Hopewade, Remus Smith, I think. Yep, Remus Smith. And I think for the other ones, I'm not too sure. But I just don't see this club getting into their top 8 position, and I just don't think how the way they can be in this club, it's just not right for them. I reckon they will fall apart, and they will definitely, because I don't see them getting into the top eight position, and I just don't see them winning any games. But for this club, though, I just don't see anything happening, like any good things happening for this club, and they are falling apart with their salary caps and all that stuff. And really, what I can say is also, I just don't see this club getting into their winning streak, and I reckon they'll probably get a couple of winning games, and then they will fall apart and probably lose a couple of games, and then they'll fall back up and definitely win a couple of games also. But really, I just don't see them winning any games, and they are a very difficult, confusing team, and I just don't see this one happening at the moment. But just because I'm saying this doesn't mean I hate them, and it's just my opinion, but I might not be right. They might fall upwards, I'm not too sure, but we have to wait and see for next year's seasons anyway. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go with 12th position on this one, and I'm definitely seeing this one not going to win at all. But really, what I can say is also, I'm going to go with them 12th or 13th, I think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, either one, I'm not particularly too sure. But yeah, hopefully they can win a couple of games, but hopefully they can prove themselves very well. For the 14th position, I'm definitely going to go with the Brisbane Broncos. Just because I'm saying this doesn't mean I'm right or wrong, but really I'm just going to go with them because Brady Croft is going to be into that squad. He has definitely signed with them from the Melbourne Storm anyway, so definitely swapped to the Brisbane Broncos anyway. But really, what I can say is also, I just think that this club will definitely fall apart. How the way they can be for their attacking team, it's just not right. And I could think that for this club also, I just don't think that this club will definitely have their great games, because Darius Boyd is in that match, and he definitely needs to retire because he is just terrible, and he is not playing any good games, because really he is just terrible at anything. Like really, he's just getting old, and he definitely needs to retire. But what I can say is also, Anthony Milford is a great player, but sometimes he does fall apart and doesn't really attack very well. But that's why Brady Croft is into that squad, and he needs to step up and definitely turn the Brisbane Broncos around and definitely win a couple of games, and definitely need to prove the Brisbane Broncos very well. But 14th position, I'm definitely going to go with them because they are a terrible team, and they're just not improving themselves at all. But for this one, I'm not too sure at all, and I'm going to go with the 14th position only because it is my opinion and it is my decision. I'm definitely going to go with them because they are a great team, but they're just not a top 8 team to be into that squad anyway. 15th position, I'm definitely going to go with the New Zealand Warriors. I know for a fact that it is my heritage and it is my club's favourite team, but I just don't see this one happening for top 8 position, and I don't see them playing their great footy at all. I know for a fact that Cody Nikorima is in that squad, because he is definitely, Roger Tuivasa Sheck, he is a great player. He sidesteps very well, and he is a sidestep king. But what I can say is also, I just don't see this club getting into an absolute rhythm. But it is their club, it's great attitude, and I don't disrespect the Warriors anyway, but I do respect them. I do have their respect for anything they do, but I just don't see how the way they can be for a club that actually can be in the top 8. I just don't see that happening at all. And really for this club, I just don't see them playing their most great football at all. But I don't know. I just reckon 15th position this one will be. And I just don't see them winning any games at all. But I'm not sure. But it is a confusing, frustrating thing to say. But it is definitely what it is, and I'm not too sure about this club though, but really what I can say is also is that they are a great club and they are a great side to their attacking ability anyway. But what I can say is also is that they are a great team, but sometimes they can fall apart, but then win a couple of games, but I'm not too sure about this one. But I reckon they'll definitely fall apart for the 2020 next year's season anyway. And last but certainly not least, 16th position, last place for the wooden spoon. I'm definitely going to go with the Gold Coast Titans. Not a lot of people probably won't like this one, but I'm definitely going to go with them because they're just falling apart, and oh god, it's making me feel so much frustrating. And it's just not on. Like, I just don't see them winning any games at all. A couple of games they probably will win, but then I just don't see them winning like any games at all. And they're not a top 8 team in the comp, but I just don't see them winning any games at all, and they're a 5 out of 10 for me, and I just don't see them winning any games at all. But sometimes they can be a great team, but then I just don't see them winning any games. I just don't see them winning like competitions and stuff like that. But 16th position, wooden spooners, I'm definitely going to go with this club, Gold Coast Titans, because they're just not a great club and they are struggling so much, and I just reckon they'll fall apart for next year's season anyway. But for this club, I'm not too sure about, but I might not be right on this one. I'm definitely going to go with Titans anyway, but I'm not too sure because how the way they can be for this club is definitely a struggle for them. But 16th position, wooden spooners, I'm definitely going to go with the Gold Coast Titans anyway, because they are just very terrible in every piece of attacking ability anyway. NRL Finals 1, Week 1. For the first game of this Week 1's finals, I'm definitely going to go definitely going to go with the Rabbitohs versus the Roosters. 18 points to 10 the scoreline, and I'm definitely going to go with them because, like, I'm definitely going to go with the Roosters. It's just how the way they can be for this attacking ability. Sometimes it is a hard team to go across with so much potential and so much attacking ability, but I just don't see this thing going like happening very hard and strongly. But I'm not too sure on this one though. I just don't see this happening at all, and I really don't see this one getting into an absolute win for the Rabbitohs. But I'm definitely going to go with them because they are I'm definitely going to go with the Roosters. Sorry, they are a great club. And I'm definitely going to go with 18 points to 10, and I reckon that Roosters will win this one by a long shot because they are a great side, and I reckon that this club will be an absolutely great club because they are a great side also. For the next one, I'm going to go with the Storm versus the Raiders. 24 points to 16 for the scoreline. I just see the Melbourne Storm winning this game, and I just think that for this club, though, how the way they can be for this one, I'm not too sure about, but I just don't see the Raiders will definitely win this game because I just don't think they will have the win, but they will probably get 3 tries and probably miss the goal anyway. So really what I can say is for this club, they are a great side, but I reckon the Melbourne Storm will win this game by a long shot, and I just think 24 points to 16 this scoreline will be for this finals game anyway. So it is a definite hard decision to make because these two sides are very hard to pick, but Melbourne Storm it is, so I'm definitely going to go with 24 points to 16, and I'm definitely going to go with the Melbourne Storm, and I just think they are an absolutely great side to the team. For the next one, I'm going to go with the Eels versus Knights. 30 points to 12, and I just think that the Eels will definitely get this win, and they will definitely get the job done. I just think they will definitely prove themselves very well, and I just think that for this club, I just think Knights won't have themselves, they won't probably win this game because I just don't see them going up against the Eels. Sometimes though, when you verse the same club, two in home and stuff like that, I just don't think that the Knights will win this game, and I just don't see them winning at all, but they are a great side. But Parramatta Eels are a very good team, and I just don't think that the Knights won't win this game by a long shot, but I reckon that the Eels will. So I'm definitely going to go with them, 30 points to 12, and I just think that the Eels win by a long shot here. Next game of that one, I'm definitely going to go with the Dragons versus Manly Sea Eagles. 22 points to 12 the scoreline, and I'm definitely going to go with them because I reckon the Dragons will definitely prove themselves very well. How the way they attack, how the way they can play, and definitely how the way their formation is. But for this club, for the Dragons, I reckon they'll prove themselves 100% correct, and I just don't think the Manly Sea Eagles will win this game. I reckon Dragons will, and I just don't see the Manly Sea Eagles winning by a long shot here. So I just don't think that the Manly Sea Eagles will win this one. But I'm definitely going to go with the Dragons, 22 points to 12. And I just think the Dragons will win this one. But sorry to say that Manly Sea Eagles will probably fall on top, and I just don't think that this club will definitely be better for them. But I just don't think that the Manly Sea Eagles won't win that game anyway. Finals week 2. We see the Rabbitohs taking on the Parramatta Eels. I just think that this club, for the Rabbitohs, they are a great club, but I just don't think that the Rabbitohs won't win this game, and I'm definitely going to go with 16 points to 2. And I'm going to go with the Parramatta Eels on this one because I just think that my club will definitely be better for 2020 season, and I just think that this club will definitely be a better club than it was before, and I just don't think that I just don't see the Rabbitohs winning this game because the Parramatta Eels have got that talent, and I just don't think that the Parramatta Eels will probably be terrible into this game, and I just think it will be a low scoring match because it will be a Rabbitohs game, but I just don't think that the Rabbitohs won't win this one, and I just don't think the Rabbitohs will because they are going up against one of the great talents of the game, the Parramatta Eels. but I'm definitely going to go with 16 points to 2. Parramatta Eels will win this game by a long shot. For this one, Raiders versus Dragons, 20 points to 18, and I'm definitely going to go with them because I'm definitely going to go with the Raiders, sorry. For this one, I just don't think that the Raiders will get another try, even though they will win. But I reckon a penalty goal will definitely seal the deal for them, and I reckon that the Dragons won't win this one. But it will be a close match for sure. But how the way they can be for this one, I just don't think that this club won't be a very good club for them to win. But I just don't see how the way they can be for this attacking team into that match. But I reckon the Raiders will be on top of their form, and I reckon that they will win 20 points to 18. But how the way they can be, it will be a 10 out of 10 game, and I reckon that this one will be the Raiders for a win, so they can be better into that squad anyway for the 2020 NRL next year's season anyway. Finals week 3 will be the Raiders versus the Roosters. 19 points to 18 for this match. I think that I'm going to go with the Raiders. I reckon they'll win this game. But I reckon Aiden Caesar will definitely kick the field goal to definitely win that match. And I just think that how the way they can play great footy is definitely how the way they can be. So really for this game, I'm not too sure about this one though for the Roosters, because they are a great team, but then sometimes they can be very hard into that attack. But really what I can say is that Roosters will probably struggle a little bit, and then they can definitely play a great style of football, but then they can just fall apart and then definitely lose. So I'm definitely going to go with the Raiders here, 19 points to 18, and I reckon Aiden Caesar will kick the field goal to definitely win 19 points to 18 for this scoreline, and I reckon that they will win by a long shot, but for a winning game anyway. And also we will see the Melbourne Storm taking on the Parramatta Eels. 32 points to 24, and I just think that this game will be a good cracking match, but it will be a hard game to definitely pick, because obviously they are, both of them, they are a great football side. But then they will be a very hard team to pick, but I just don't think that putting a lot of pressure on the Parramatta Eels for this one. They have lost 64 points to 10 when they have played up against the Melbourne Storm at the Magic Round for this year's match. But I just don't think that Parramatta Eels won't win this one, so I'm definitely going to go with the Melbourne Storm, 32 points to 24, and I just think that the Parramatta Eels won't win this game because they will definitely struggle to find a win against one of the most great sides of the team anyway. But I just think the Melbourne Storm will win 32 points to 24, and I just think that they will definitely win for the NRL 2020 season for next year's games anyway. Grand final. We will see the Canberra Raiders going up against the Melbourne Storm. Okay, so I just think that this one again will be one of the most two attacking clubs of this match. But for this one, I just think that the Canberra Raiders will win this one, 32 points to 18. And I just don't see Melbourne Storm winning this game by a long shot. But for this one, I just don't see this club having this game. Is definitely not an absolute attacking game for them. But for this one, though, I'm definitely going to go with the Raiders because they are a great side, but I'm not too sure about the Melbourne Storm though. Might not be right. So 32 points to 18 it is. I'm definitely going to go with the Raiders, and hopefully they will win against the Melbourne Storm anyway, and hopefully they can definitely put a smile on Ricky Stewart's face anyway, so they can definitely win the grand final match for their club anyway. Thanks guys for watching my video, guys. Stay tuned for more. I will be doing a couple of videos coming to you soon. Also, I'll be doing a couple of videos coming to you guys soon. Like, there'll be definitely more videos. Also, for you guys that definitely love my videos, so stay tuned for more. Please like and subscribe to this video, and also to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, take care guys, and have a good one. Stay safe, and a happy Merry Christmas to you guys out there.